Here we are in Beastie Valley. This fine beastie is MaroonBeastie. MaroonBeastie is pretty cool and well-liked. You'd think that would be enough for any beastie, but MaroonBeastie has one thing that they're really, really into and can't get enough of. For as long as they can remember, MaroonBeastie has always been really into treecones. I mean, like they love them. Even when they were little, MaroonBeastie was fascinated by how no two treecones looked and felt alike. They could spend hours just examining the uniqueness of each one they found, and it didn't take long to become a treecone expert. So, of course, MaroonBeastie started collecting them, and finding a new, interesting cone was so exciting. Whenever they came across a treecone that was really big, or really small, or extra smooth, or super prickly, MaroonBeastie was all over it. Treecones were definitely MaroonBeastie's passion. Sometimes they would get so busy collecting treecones that MaroonBeastie forgets to have breakfast or lunch. But lately, MaroonBeastie is feeling more and more like no matter how many cones they've collected, and they've collected a lot of treecones, it's somehow never enough. So they tried finding the biggest treecone in the forest, and they found it. But that didn't get rid of the feeling of wanting more. Next, they tried to find the smallest cone possible. And they did. MaroonBeastie found the tiniest treecone in all of the valley, but somehow they still have that feeling like they just want more. MaroonBeastie even found the weirdest looking cone anyone has ever seen, but that was not enough. They still feel like they just want more, need more. Soon, MaroonBeastie has collected so many treecones, so many that MaroonBeastie can barely make their way through the house. Cones are piled up all around the outside of the house too, stacks and stacks of cones. Hundreds of them, thousands of them, maybe even tens of thousands. No one could ever see them all, let alone appreciate how no two were alike. But still, MaroonBeastie has this longing feeling inside, like something is missing, like they want more. Meanwhile, it seems like other beasties are carrying on with fulfilling lives, and even though MaroonBeastie is discovering new treecones, MaroonBeastie feels empty and can't seem to figure out how everyone but them is so happy. One day, MaroonBeastie is hanging out alone when PurpleBeastie comes bouncing along and asks why MaroonBeastie looks so miserable. MaroonBeastie explains how, no matter how many cones they have, they still can't seem to feel satisfied. MaroonBeastie asks PurpleBeastie how they manage to be so happy. They barely have any cones at all. PurpleBeastie cheerfully shrugs and explains how, while they do enjoy finding a really cool treecone here and there, they also enjoy an active afternoon of barrel rolling over the hills. MaroonBeastie almost has a realization, but not quite. Then GreenBeastie wanders by and joins the conversation. GreenBeastie explains that, although discovering a new type of treecone is a thrill once in a while, and rolling over hills is great too, GreenBeastie finds that the thing that really tops their list is their close friendship with RedBeastie. RedBeastie happily joins in when they hear their name and, of course, needs to add their 2 cents. RedBeastie adds that they love to read and really don't feel happy until they've had their daily dose of a good book. KhakiBeastie had rolled on into the crowd while RedBeastie was talking and pipes up that they have all those things too. They love to find cones, they love to race around and be physical, they have a close friend they love, and they love to read, but KhakiBeastie's happy cup never feels quite full enough if they don't spend time with the people they care about, like their cousins. MaroonBeastie suddenly notices that SepiaBeastie has also joined the group. SepiaBeastie is one of the adult beasties and knows a thing or two about a thing or two. So everyone pays close attention when they speak. I love to sit quietly and look out over Beastie Valley among nature with all the smells and sounds and meditate. I practice mindfulness. When I do, I feel blissful and happy. But you know what? No matter how long I meditate, I still won't feel like it's enough on its own. If all I do every day is meditate, I can get sort of bored, to be honest. When that happens, I know that that's my body and mind telling me to pay attention to all the other different kinds of needs I have. Everyone nods their heads, but MaroonBeastie isn't quite there yet. Let me demonstrate, says SepiaBeastie. Here, you have your treecones, and they're lovely for sure. It's a great hobby. But see what happens when they're the only thing on your slab? But look at this. Let's add Purple Beastie's physical activity, barrel rolling here, and then let's add in some time with friends and family and time with a good book, and let's not forget some yummy nutrition, and of course, a little mindful meditation. Now let's see what happens. Everyone looks at SepiaBeastie's perfectly balanced slab. There's a fairly equal amount of good food, physical activity like barrel rolling, brain time like reading, time with family and friends, mindfulness time like meditation, and of course, exciting interest like collecting tree cones. All the beasties are impressed with SepiaBeastie's little demonstration, and there's even a little bit of applause. SepiaBeastie modestly reminds everyone that it's our responsibility as adult beasties to not just help you learn what you need to be healthy, we also need to make sure all of the needs of young beasties are being met. It's one of the great joys and responsibilities of being an adult beastie. MaroonBeastie thinks for a moment. Then, all of a sudden, eureka! MaroonBeastie finally has an epiphany. MaroonBeastie realizes that no one thing, even tree cones, is enough to make them totally happy. MaroonBeastie has a newfound excitement. They're trying to think of all the things they need to create happiness and balance. Like when they need help cleaning up their out-of-control tree cone collection. MaroonBeastie reaches out for help from one of the adult beasties, who are always happy to lend a hand. Even after tidying up, MaroonBeastie still has an incredibly satisfying tree cone collection. Now it's just smaller and not taking over the whole house. Finding all these new activities and hobbies, making new friends, getting help, and having people that they care about has brought balance to MaroonBeastie's life. MaroonBeastie finally feels like they can be their true self. They have new sides and colors to their life. And since all of their needs are being met, MaroonBeastie has a brand new feeling. Something they've never quite felt before. MaroonBeastie is happy.